Hey, good morning, folks. It's Pastor Steven here again with another No Frills daily devotional. And today we're going to be kind of picking up where I left off in a previous video titled Heads or Tails. And in that video, I was using this coin just trying to convey to you this idea of how we can have differing experiences, okay? We can have differing experiences with the weather. We can have differing experiences with a restaurant, okay? We can have differing experiences with people, okay? And kind of what is going on in the background with those differing experiences are things known as perspective and position. Okay, and that's where I want to kind of pick up, because in the previous video I was using a verse from Isaiah 66 verse 14, and I was talking about how the day of the Lord, okay, this day when God comes back to earth and transforms the earth back into a new heaven and a new earth, how that experience is going to be very different for people. On one hand, some people are going to be rejoicing. And on the other hand, some people are going to be not rejoicing. They're going to be doing the opposite. And it's going to be very terrifying for them. And so it's kind of like I was begging the question, like how is that possible? How is it that two people can have differing experiences of the same God? Well, it comes down to perspective and position. So in my classroom that I teach, my co-teacher and I, we just had a meeting this last week, and we were talking about a student, okay? Now she's there in the morning with him, I'm there in the afternoon with him, okay? And this student is difficult, but we were kind of talking a little bit about how her experience of him has been very difficult, and he's been very hard for her to deal with. He doesn't respond to her well, and he tends to lash out in violence at times with other students that are bothering him. Now, he does the same thing for me in the afternoon, okay? But let me kind of clue you into something. This is a little dude who has had a very traumatic background, or a very traumatic childhood experience. His upbringing has been very tragic, okay? But my co-teacher, she didn't know that yet, okay? And so as I was cluing her in to this kiddo's background, what was happening is her perspective was starting to change, okay? Did it change that the kid's been difficult for her in the afternoon? No. Okay, he's still been difficult for her in the afternoon, but what it was doing is it was giving her a different perspective on maybe what is going on in the background of this kiddo's life to cause him, or to cause her to have the experience that she is with him. Okay, and so position and perspective play a big role in our experience of people, in our experience of restaurants, in our experience of things, and including our experience of God. But here's the thing, we got to keep this in mind, okay? The Bible would teach us in Hebrews chapter 13, verse 8, that God never changes. Okay, he's the same. The author writes it like this: Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Okay, he's never changed. He's never been different. Okay, but that doesn't change the fact that we have differing experiences of him, and that's because of position, and that's because of perspective. And so what is Jesus' nature then? What is this unchanging nature? If Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever, well, what's his nature then? Well, it's found in Psalm 103, and I'm going to read to you verse 8, okay? And it's writing this about God, okay? And David says this. He says, "The Lord is compassionate and gracious. He is slow to anger, and he is abounding in love." Those are unchanging characteristics of God's nature: slow to anger, compassionate, gracious, and abounding in love. Now, if that's not your experience of God, then there must be something wonky with your perspective and there must be something wonky with your position. Okay? And so I talked about it a little bit like this, how we have this tendency sometimes, I don't know if you know this or not, okay, myself included, where we position ourselves above God and we try to look down on him as though we are his judge, okay? But that's not where we're called to live, okay? And we were never created to judge God, okay? We were created by God, and he is our judge, but we were never created to be his judge. And so we got to be careful that we don't try to put ourselves above God, where we leverage our will and we expect him to serve us, okay? And so with this idea of position and perspective and experience, if you have, okay, an experience with God that doesn't align to him being compassionate or gracious or slow to anger or abounding in love, there might be something wrong with your perspective and your position then that's causing you to have a different experience of God. And I would encourage you then to lean in and try to find out, okay, so what's going on then, God? What is it with my position or my perspective that's causing me to have a different experience of you? Because the Bible tells me you're slow to anger, but you feel angry to me. The Bible tells me that you're abounding in love, but you don't seem very loving to me right now. The Bible tells me that you're gracious, but you don't seem very gracious to me right now. And so help me to see you for who you truly are. And I guarantee you, he's going to help flip that perspective when you take on a new position of humility and lean into his presence. All right, you guys? Hey, have an awesome day and be blessed.